courtesy of we NSC, we will fight against removal of subsidy, and then we think we are fighting for the people, which was our intention. And then the young man comes in, just do paper transactions, and it takes billions of naira in the name of the same subsidy and become wealthy. We have to change that. And that is what this change is about. Now, we also need to be very careful in not understanding that there is always a time lag between decisions and consequences, between actions and consequences, whether those actions are positive or they are negative. For example, I spoke at some length on what we have done in public schools, but the results are now beginning to manifest. It takes almost 5 years for that investment in public school renewal to attract more students to school, to make sure teachers are paid. We are doing that, and now we are beginning to hear that we are no more 32, we are now taught. Time lag. By the same logic, there's always a time lag between when you carry out such massive looting of the treasury, transfer defense budget to private pockets, money made for infrastructure, for power, spend $60 billion on light. The more dollar you spend, the more darkness. Right? Appropriate so much money in the name of university education, but no new structure is coming up. There's always a time lag between those massive looting and the consequences we are witnessing now from a central bank whose votes have been emptied and who therefore doesn't have the reserve to support the currency, and therefore the currency is going through what look like a free fall. That free fall is not arising from the pushing of today, it's arising from the looting, sustained looting over years. So the job for us really is, if you don't like this change, should we return to the past? Business as usual. But that does not mean we should not interrogate the content of this change. And even now, who bears the burden of the crisis? Because the house is not as buoyant as it was. So somebody has to make sacrifice. Now the task of leaders is now to decide who make what level of sacrifice in relation to who. But sacrifices will be made. And they have to be policies that people can see through, they can follow through, and they can have a basis of some conviction that at the end of a sacrifice, there will be light at the end of the tunnel. That is the challenge. You try to interrogate the process of change, the character of change, and the quality of change. Now I will stop. Godfathers and godmothers and the role of money. You know, in my place, we have this saying that if you don't have money, you should have sweet mouth. And if you have money, a politician actually told me this, but this politician is not from APC. That's all I will say. I will say the party belongs to. We have too many friends here from various political parties, and I want to service our friendship even after this discourse. He said he saw that he was going to lose an election in a primary that was to be conducted at a stadium. His opponent had the police on their side, so he couldn't use his bad boys to fight and disrupt. Then an idea occurred to him that these people are very, very poor. These people are going to vote, called delegates. How can you cause confusion? Then he remembers that when you are spraying in a birthday party, usually even fairly able-bodied people go to run after the dollars. So he called his personal and said, do we have up to 200,000? He said, yes, he bring it. He brought it and loosened it, and he just threw it to the crowd. And that was all he needed to do. The people started fighting, delegates struggling over the money. Police could not cope. They can't distinguish supporters of his opponent from his own. And the primaries was adjourned sine die. And they got it done. So if you don't have money, you don't have formal security, you have to have the capacity to communicate to persuade, to confuse, and to enlighten. You need all of that. And for me, that is all I had to do in Edo State. When we talk of godfathers, people really think, you know, it's not in the way, sir, that is done in the church. And I'm sure you understand that, given the promises you attach to it in this discourse. What I define as godfathers in Edo is that you go there, even the ordinary man on the street, in approaching him and sharing your intention to contest for office, and he will ask you, who are your godfathers? Now, in the Catholic Church, when you have a baby, you want to do baptism or something, you have a godfather, and things like that, or you want to wed and so on. But in politics, these are people who you can't even explain how they become godfathers. Nothing to do with the fact that they have ever won election. Some of them have never even contested election as a councillor. So they don't even have the capacity to persuade, to mobilize. But somehow they entrench themselves. They didn't necessarily start because they had huge money. They were just able to hold the system and create a mystery around them that they are invisible, and so their words are final. And once they are able to recycle the 2-3 times, people begin to believe. And once they believe they are invisible, they dare not challenge them. And to the extent that they will never challenge, they become institutionalized. And their business as usual continue. And then the media, you call them Mr. Fix. Because somebody lost election, and somebody was invited to consult on how to revise the winner to be the loser, and the loser to be the winner. He comes with a policy, and INEC announced, actually, the loser is the winner, and the winner is the loser. If you don't like it, go to court. And you go to court, one thing leads to the other. They can count your vote for 18 months. It took 18 months to count my own votes. So, for me, this is what I found that they call godfathers in the state. Because it's not about their history, it's not about their family name, it's not about anything they've done that is outstanding, that makes people to bow before them. It's just that they just managed to corner the system. What did we do in Edo, or what I think civil society should if you want to seek power? And to be honest, I've told this, I was one of the officials in the NLC, other Pascal Bafiao. I had argued, and I believe Kaode Komolafe will remember, I had argued that, because I read this literature in Russia, written by a radical writer in Russia. It is called A Worker in a Worker's State. A Worker in a Worker's State. I don't remember the name of the author. But when you finish reading it, it tells you how, in the name of workers, people form government, communist countries, and they integrate the union leaders into the party structure of the Communist Party. And the union leaders purport to be represented at the highest level of government, but really, they are just being used as tools to control the working class. When I read that literature, I said, I do not want to be a worker in government, because they will just use us to acquire power, incorporate few of us into the system, and the process of exploitation and of oppression might continue. So I was very, very suspicious, and I said, we should rather perfect the act of collective bargaining, of militancy. You know, the word militancy is now being distorted in Nigeria as if it is a criminal thing. I am a militant, unrepentant militant. And even now, I remain a militant. And when I finish my job, I will become even more militant, God willing. Because there is so much militancy required if we are going to convert or deal with the paradox of a very rich country whose people are getting poorer and poorer. The business of revising such an unjust order cannot be through cosmetic reforms. It requires radical approach for radical changes to take place. And so I am not repentant, I am a militant. But I will not carry gun to break a pipeline. No, I'm not going to do that. Even when I'm angry about what they do with the money that comes from the oil, I understand that breaking the pipeline is not the source of my problem. The source of my problem is located elsewhere. And those are the guys to go after. I forgot the point I was trying to make.